Hi, my name is Heather, and welcome to another episode of Wacom plus Cricut, my series where I show you how you can use your Wacom tablet to create projects for your Cricut. Before we start, I want to give a huge thank you to Wacom for sending me this tablet and for sponsoring this series. Today, we're going to be making Valentine's candy holders. I got these little chocolate hearts from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make little animals that can hold a piece of candy. I'm going to be using Affinity Photo for this because I want to be able to have different colors on the animals. So I'm going to draw them and color them in, and then I'll print them out with the printer and then cut them using the Cricut. I'm in Affinity Photo here, and I'm going to make an 8.5 by 11 document. So I'm going to make sure the units are set to inches, and I'm going to make it 8.5 wide by 11 high. And I'll keep it at 300 DPI since we're going to be printing it out. That's a good resolution for print. And then I'm going to do create. When I was planning for this video, I drew out a little kind of sample character on paper and measured it. And I ended up finding out that a good size is like about 4 inches high, and then we can make it wider with the arms coming out that are going to wrap around the candy. And then that way we can also fit 2 of them on a paper, which can be the front and the back of the character, because we don't really want the back to just be plain white because the arms are going to be wrapping around. So we're going to want to have printing on the front and the back. I'm going to grab my brush tool, and I'm just going to start sketching out my character. I'm going to make this a cat, and I'm going to do his body and his head and some little feet. And then I'm going to make sure that this is the right size. So I want it to be 4 inches high. So I'm going to grab my move tool, go down to the transform panel. I'm going to press the little lock to make sure that we are constraining the proportions so we don't stretch them out weird. And then for the height, I'm just going to make it 4 inches. Now I'm going to grab the brush tool again, and I'll draw his little arms coming out. We're going to want the arms to be able to fold over the body. And also, if the piece of candy is kind of thick, then the arms are going to have to go over the candy. It's probably going to need to be about twice the width of the distance to the middle. So if we have this as the middle of the body, then we want to have this times 2. So we can go, this is about 1 and this is about 2. So I think this is probably a good length, which actually will end up being the exact width of the body. Of course, this doesn't really need to be exact, but as long as it's like roughly close, then you should be okay. Now I'm just going to draw the other arm, and that seems to be about the right width. We can also check it if we grab our move tool and go down to transform, and then we can see that this is 6.5 inches. Now that we have that done, we can take this layer and lower the opacity. So I'm going to click on the layer and bring the opacity down. And we can also set it to multiply, and that way we'll be able to see it while we're drawing. I'm going to rename this to sketch, and then I'm going to make a new layer. So I'm going to click this add pixel layer button, and I'll bring it underneath the sketch, and I'll name this cat. And then I'm going to grab my brush tool again, and I can go ahead and start drawing the final version of this. I'm going to grab an orange color, and then I'm going to go to my brushes panel, pick whichever brush I want to use. So you can use something textured or something with hard edges, whichever one you want to use. And I'm going to go ahead and just start drawing. Now that I have my base color down, I can go ahead and hide my sketch layer. So I'll just click the little dot to the right of the layer name. If you want to kind of touch up your edges, you can use the eraser tool. Now that I have the base shape here, I'm going to make mine symmetrical, which you don't have to do, but I'm going to do it for mine. I'm going to grab my rectangle marquee tool, And I'm going to grab the half of him that I don't like as much. So that's going to be this half. And then I'll just do edit, cut. Then I'm going to go up to layer, duplicate. Now, if we look in the layer panel, you can see that we have two of them. So the one on top, I'm going to flip it horizontally. So I'll go up to arrange, flip horizontal. And now I can grab my move tool and move him over to the right, but I don't really want to move it up and down. So I'm just going to hold down shift on my keyboard and then I can move him over. Now I have one whole symmetrical kitty cat. Then I'm going to grab both of these and I'll go to layer, merge selected, and now he is one layer. Now I'm going to duplicate this so that we have the back layer as well. So I'm going to have that layer selected and then I'll go to layer, duplicate, and I'm going to bring this down. So now I have two of him, and the first one will be the front and the second one will be the back. If you didn't make this symmetrical, you're going to need to flip it horizontally. And to do that, you'll just go to arrange, flip horizontal. So this one, I'm going to rename the layer. So I'll double click on the name and I'll do cat back. The first one, I can rename that to cat front. Now I'm going to draw some details onto these layers. I'm going to lock the opacity so that if I color outside the layers, it won't go outside the lines. So the way that you do this in Affinity Photo is when you have the brush tool selected, you're going to go up to the menu along the top. And if your screen is small, you may have to click the two little arrows here, and then you're going to check Protect Alpha. And that's going to protect the transparency of the individual pixels so that if you go outside of your pixels, then it's not going to color. So I'll show you if I grab like this darker orange here and I go like this, see how it stays inside the layer. So that's really nice because then you can put like your stripes on your cat and you don't have to worry about going outside the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and color this in. Now I'm done coloring the front, so I'll go ahead and color the back. Now I'm done drawing my character. First, let's save this as an Affinity Photo file in case we ever need to come back to it. So I'll go to File, Save. I'm going to name this Valentine and I'll save it. And now I want to save it as a transparent PNG because that way the Cricut will know where to cut because it's going to cut around the shapes. In order to save this with a transparent background, we're going to need to go to Document, Transparent Background, and now this has a transparent background. So now I can go to File, Export, and we're going to pick PNG up here, and we can do whole document and export and save. Now I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space. I'm in a new project in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to upload image, browse, and I'm going to pick my PNG and open. Over here, I'm going to pick complex and continue and apply and continue. And we're going to pick print then cut image. So I'm going to click that and upload. Now I'm going to click it and do add to canvas. And here's our character here. And because we saved it as 300 DPI, it did import as bigger than it should have. But I did still want to keep it at 300 dpi for printing. If it's more important to you that it imports at the correct size and you don't need to resize it, then you can make it 72 dpi in Affinity Photo. But if the print quality is more important, then you can export it as 300 dpi. Since mine is bigger than it should be, I'm going to go up here to size and I'm going to change the width to 6 inches. And now this is the right size. As you can see over here, my cat is just about 4 inches high, so that's perfect. Now let's go ahead and print this out and then we'll cut it with the Cricut. I have some light cardstock here and I'm just going to put this in my printer to print. Over in Cricut Design Space, I'm going to click Make and then I'll click Continue and Send to Printer. And for this one, I am going to add bleed because that's going to make sure that it can cut out the entire image and we're not going to have any little white part around the edge. And then I'll click Print. Here's my finished kitty cat and I'm just going to stick it to my mat here. And if you have a light grip mat, that's going to be better for the paper, but I only have the standard grip, so I'm just using that. Now let's go ahead and run this through the Cricut. I have my material set to light cardstock. Now I'm just going to flip over my mat and I will just carefully take the cardstock off. You can see how nice that bleed worked because there's no white around the edges. Now I'm just going to glue these together back to back. I'm just using some basic white glue and I'm going to try to go really thin because I don't want the paper to wrinkle up. Now I'm going to sandwich it between 2 pieces of white paper and then I'm going to lay some books on it. And this will just add some weight to it and help ensure that it dries nice and flat. And any wetness that might be in it from the glue will go into those pieces of white paper. So I'm just going to leave it like this for like 10 or 20 minutes and let it dry. Now this has been sitting for a while, so I'll go ahead and take these off. And you can see where the glue went into the paper here and made it wrinkly, which is good because it didn't make the kitty cat wrinkly. Here's the cat, and I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these candy hearts. And I'll put it right here, and I'm just going to use a little bit of Scotch tape. I'm going to add a little bit of tape right on top of the heart, and then I'll put the first hand down. And there's the second little hand, or paw. And here's our little Valentine. I think it came out super cute, and you can write to and from either on the arms here, or you can put it on the back. Have fun with this one. I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Or as always, you can email me at heather@heathercash.com. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I know to make more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!